Assalamu alaikum. So before the long break, we looked at the procedure about level of service analysis. Okay, so today we will do some examples and we will continue in the next class as well. Which is I did in the previous class, it was not enough. So do we have two meetings? Let me just finish this one. Okay, so have you calculators at hand and participate in the calculation so we can do it faster. Okay. Okay, the first example is this one, which is.
Doctor, you're not showing the screen.
Okay.
Doctor, there's no share.
Yeah. Okay. So the first example is for a freeway. You have to find out the level of service for a freeway. Okay, so it's an old freeway. It has 4 lanes, 10-foot lane width, letter obstruction at 0 feet. It's a freeway, so we need obstruction on the right hand side of the road. Okay, so this is the lateral obstruction, lateral clearance to the right hand side of the road. Ramp density is given, rolling terrain. We have typical mix, 2% of trucks. Typical mix means 70% single unit trucks and 30% trailer trucks. Peak hour factor is given. Current volume in the peak direction is 3000 vehicles per hour, and we have to find out the level of service. So we'll start with the calculation of free flow speed. For freeways, the free flow speed is calculated using this equation. Okay, so I need the factors FLW, for example, which is the factor for lane width. Okay, so when we have 10 foot lane width, the factor is 6.6. Then I need the factor for lateral clearance. It's a 4-lane freeway, so 2 lanes in each direction, and 0 foot lateral clearance. So the factor is 3.6. Okay, then ramp density is given 5. Okay, so the equation will be 75.4 minus 6.6 minus 0.6 minus 5 to the power 7.
52.75.
Huh?
52.75.
62.75.
52.
52.75. Okay. Okay, the next thing is to find out the flow rate. Flow rate is calculated using this equation. So number of lanes are given, peak hour factor is given. I need to calculate the heavy vehicle adjustment factor. So it will be, the equation is this. Okay. So percentage of trucks 2%, so 0.02. Equivalency factor for rolling terrain is 3. Okay, I have memorized it, so you need to believe me. So it is 3. For rolling terrain, the equivalency factor is 3. Okay, there was a table in which this factor is given. So how much is this value?
0.96.
Okay. Then VP 3000 is the volume, divided by number of lanes in one direction 2, peak hour factor 0.95 given, and FHV 0.96. How much?
One 1644.7.
1644.7.
44.7.
Okay, 45. Passenger cars per hour per lane. Okay. Now, level of service is related to density. If you know density, you can calculate level of service. Okay. Density is flow upon speed. Density is flow upon speed. You have just calculated the flow. Okay. But don't divide the flow with free flow speed directly. For calculating density, don't divide the flow rate directly with the free flow speed. Before you do that, you need to perform a check. You need to perform a check. What is the check? Let me show it to you here. This is the check. If flow rate is less than equal to BP, breakpoint, then speed is equal to free flow speed. Okay. If flow rate is more than the breakpoint, then the speed will be equal to this equation. Okay. So when you are calculating density, you can divide the flow rate with free flow speed or the speed coming from this equation, depending upon the value of flow rate and breakpoint BP. Okay. So until you calculate breakpoint, you cannot know whether I should take a speed equal to free flow speed or should I take speed from the equation. Okay. So I need to calculate BP here. BP is given here. This is the freeway, so BP will be calculated from here. Now you can see in the previous slide as well as this in this slide, they are mentioning adjusted free flow speed and they are also mentioning capacity adjustment factors as well. Last week we have discussed about the adjustments and the adjustment factors for capacity and speed. Should I calculate adjusted speed here in this for this example? No. If the client wants me to perform any adjustment factor, if the client wants me to perform any adjustment on speed or capacity, then he will give me the condition for the adjustment, the condition which requires the adjustment. Okay, so there are 4 conditions which may require the adjustment of speed and capacity: driver population, weather, work zone, and incidents. Now in this example, no such condition is given. They did not mention anything about weather, they did not mention anything about drivers, they did not mention anything about work zone, and they did not mention anything about the incidents as well. So that means no adjustments are required. So free flow speed and adjusted free flow speed are equal and all adjustment factors are 1. Okay, if no adjustment conditions are given, that means all adjustments are 1 and free flow speed and adjusted free flow speed are equal. Okay, so whatever free flow speed you have calculated, you will use it here directly. Okay, and capacity adjustment factor will be 1. Like I said, all your adjustment factors are 1. So this will not be applied. This will not be applied. Okay, if I tell you the conditions, the weather is like this, the incident happened, work zone happened, whatever, then you will go for the adjustments. Okay, then you will go for the adjustments. Now, so I will calculate the breakpoint using this equation without the adjustments. Okay, so the breakpoint is equals to 1000 plus 40 into 75 minus the free flow speed, which is 52.7. Tell me the value.
One eight nine zero.
1890 passenger cars per hour per lane. Okay, now this is less than the flow rate. This is less than the flow rate. Oh, sorry. This is more than the flow rate. More than the flow rate. So when you have more than flow rate, BP more than flow rate, then speed equals to free flow speed. Okay, when flow rate is less than BP, then speed equals to free flow speed. Okay. Plus 52.74. Okay, density will be flow rate upon speed. So it will be 1645 divided by 52.7. How much?
31.18.
31.18. This is density passenger cars per mile per lane. Okay. So if I know level of service, then I can calculate. If I know density, I can calculate the level of service from here. It's a freeway, so you will look into this column. And which range should we take? This one, right? Our value is 31 point something. So this range. So this range is level of service D. Okay, so your level of service is D. Okay, so this is how you perform the analysis for finding out the level of service. This was for a freeway. Now level of service D, they have given some notes in the book with the results. So I should share the notes with you as well. Level of service D is generally an acceptable level of service for urban areas. In urban areas, many highways in the peak hour have level of service D, and it is acceptable. Okay, but level of service D doesn't mean it's a good level. Level of service D doesn't mean that it's a good condition of the road. The operational condition of the road and level of service D is not considered good. Okay, because we have what? A, B, C, D, and then E. So you are close to the end, right? E is the capacity, so you are close to the capacity. If you go back to the explanation of each level of service, you will see that in level of service D, the speeds reduce very rapidly and so on. So level of service D is acceptable, but not good. Okay, how we can improve it, or why are we getting level of service D? Although the flow rate is not high, 3000 vehicles per hour is not a high volume, but still you are getting level of service D because of the geometry of the road. Okay, what geometry? Lane width, lateral clearance, these things. Okay, so your lane width was 10 feet. The standard value is 12 feet. Okay, the lateral clearance is 0 feet. 0, imagine, no clearance on the side of the road. So because of the road geometric conditions, you are getting a level of service which is in poor operational conditions. Okay, so if you want to improve the level of service, improve the geometry of the road. Okay, moving on, next example. This is for a multi-lane highway. So 4-lane multi-lane highway, peak hour volume is given in the direction, 12 feet lanes, 4 feet lateral clearance on road side as well as the median side. For multi-lane highway, I need lateral clearance on both sides of the direction, median side as well as the right hand side. So they are telling me the both lateral clearance are 4 feet. Okay, so they are equal. 10 access points per mile, 10% trucks, standard mix again meaning 70% trucks, 30%, 70% single unit trucks, 30% trailer trucks. Peak hour factor is given. This section has a gradient now. So this is something new. This section has a gradient now, 3.5% gradient, 1.25 mile length. It has a 3.5% gradient, 1.25 mile length. Base free flow speed is given. Base free flow speed, okay. This is not the free flow speed, this is just the base free flow speed. We want to find out the level of service in upward gradient and downward gradient condition. Upward means one direction, downward is the other direction, right? If you are going upward in one direction, the guy coming from the other direction is coming downwards, right? So upward and downward doesn't mean we are talking about different segments. We are talking about the same segment, okay, but different directions. Okay, the same volume can come in any direction. So we have to perform the analysis for upward as well as downward direction. I will do the analysis for upward direction and I will tell you the difference for downward direction, and you can do it on your own. Okay, I will tell you the difference, where the difference comes. I will start with the calculation of free flow speed. Free flow speed for multi-highway is calculated in this manner. Okay, so I need all these adjustment factors and the base free flow speed. Base free flow speed is given 65. I need the lane width adjustment factor. If you have 12 feet lanes, 12 feet is a standard. I told you in the last example as well. 12 feet is standard. So when you are achieving standard, this factor becomes 0. Okay, if you want to go and check in the table, you can have a look. Okay, like I said, I have memorized the values. I've been doing it for too long now. Huh? Okay, lateral clearance 4 feet on each side. So total is 8 feet. Total lateral clearance 8 feet. Okay, and it's a 4-lane multi-lane highway. 4-lane multi-lane highway, 8 feet lateral clearance. Okay, so 4-lane means this area, and 8 feet means 0.9 is the factor. 0.9 factor. So 0.9. Okay, minus the factor for median type. We have divided highway. Okay, divided means they have a median. Okay, it's given here. Where is it? Full median. Okay, so the highway has a median, so it is divided. For divided highway, this factor is 0. Then we have 10 access points per mile. For 10 access points per mile, the factor is 2.5. Okay, give me the value.
61.6.
1.6 miles per hour. Okay, then I need to calculate VP again, right? For VP, I have to calculate the heavy vehicle adjustment factor. Okay, so I already given you the equation for heavy vehicle adjustment factor. I need the percentage of trucks, which is 0.10%, so 0.1. Okay, and I need the now equivalency factor. Now this is where the change will come. This is where the change will come. My highway has a gradient. Okay, so for gradient, I showed you first of all 2 tables. This one for standard mix, we also call it the light mix, which is 70% single unit trucks and 30% trailer trucks. Okay, so I will use this table in this example. Okay, this is the other table as well, which is for heavy mix and equal mix, but I will use this table. Okay, my gradient is 3.5%, 1.25 mile length. Okay, and I have 2% trucks. So 2% trucks means the first column, 3.5% gradient is here, and 1.25 miles length is this one. Okay, so sorry, 10% trucks, right? 10% trucks. I have 10% trucks. Okay, so I will look into this factor. 10% trucks is this one. Okay, sorry for the quality of the image, but the image is much better in the book. Okay, go to the book, you will see this much clearer. Okay, but anyways, for the time being, just believe me, this factor is 2.96. 10% trucks, 3.5% gradient, and 1.25 mile length. Okay, so the factor is 2.96. Equivalency factor is 2.96. So 2.96 minus 1. How much is this?
.836.
0.84. Okay, now if you had, this is for upward condition. This is for upward condition. For downward condition, the gradients, all the values are in the first row. For downward gradient, all the values are in the first row. Okay, so this value will change. The value which you has taken as 2.96, this value will change. So you can see in the table, this value is now 1.96. For downward gradient, this value is 1.96. Okay, so I will mark it here. I will highlight it. So you know, for downward condition, this value will change, and the analysis which will come after this will also change, right? Because everything after this value depends upon FHV. So when you put a different value in the equation of FHV, everything else will change as well. Everything coming afterwards will also change. Okay, so FHV will change, VP will change, and so on. So like I said, I will do it for upward. For downward, change this value which I have highlighted for downward, and repeat the analysis after this. Okay, which is repeat the analysis which I am doing after this. Okay, so I will calculate VP now. So VP is, I have 2600 vehicles. A number of lanes 2 in one direction, 4 lane. Peak hour factor 0.88, and I'm using the heavy vehicle adjustment factor upward. How much?
1759.
1759. Okay, then I need to check it with the BP value, the breakpoint. Okay, so I can decide about the speed. Now it's a multi-lane highway. For multi-lane highway, breakpoint is fixed 1400 passenger cars per hour. For all multi-lane highways, breakpoint is fixed. I don't have to use any equation like freeways. It is 1400 passenger cars per hour. Now this value is more than 1400, right? This is more than 1400, which is my breakpoint. Okay, so speed cannot be calculated. Speed cannot be taken as free flow speed. I have to calculate the speed using this complex equation. Okay, so in this equation again you can see free flow adjusted. As I told you, no adjustment conditions are given, so it is a free flow speed which I have calculated, right? Capacity, I need capacity. For capacity of multi-lane highway, this is the equation. This is the equation. So I need to first of all calculate the capacity. Okay, so capacity is this. So let me calculate the capacity first. 1900 plus 20 free flow speed, which is 61.6 minus 45. Okay, how much is the capacity here?
2232.
2232 passenger cars per hour per lane. Now if you come to this equation, they have given the conditions here for using the equation. The value which you get from the equation must be less than equal to 2300. It is, the free flow speed must be between 45 and 70. It is, okay, so we will take the value from the equation 2232. Okay, now I come back to this equation for speed. So I need the speed which I calculated. Density at capacity, DC is density at capacity, which is 45, fixed. Okay, so DC is also fixed, 45. VP we already calculated. BP I told you, multi-lane highways BP is 1400. BP is 1400. Value of A is given in the table. For multi-lane highways it is 1.31. For multi-lane highways A is 1.31. Okay, so let me calculate the speed here. 61.6 1.6 minus capacity, which is 2232, divided by density, which is 45, multiply by VP, which is 1759, minus VP 1400 to the power A, which is 1.31. This whole thing divided by which is 2232 minus BP 1400. We will take the power here. Okay, and this is the denominator. Okay, tell me the value of speed here.
$57.6.
57.6 miles per hour. Okay, now you can calculate density is flow rate upon speed. Flow rate is 1759 divided by speed, which is 57.6. See, now I'm not using free flow speed here. Okay. Give me the density.
30.5.
30. Okay, again, I go back to the table of level of service. This is multi-lane highway, so I will look into this column. Okay, so the level of service again is in this range, density is in this range, the level of service is D again. Okay. Let us look at another example. Okay, this is a freeway design example. A design example for the freeway. So now we are designing the freeway. You can see one thing here, that all examples are different from each other. Okay, and that's why I'm doing more of them. Okay, so you have an idea how the changes are being made. Okay, so don't rely that I have understood one example, so now everything will be easy. Okay, it will not be easy until you have got the idea about all of them. Okay, we are designing a new freeway for a rural area. Directional design hourly volume is given 2700 in the peak hour for the one direction. Peak hour factor is given. Familiar users 15% trucks, heavy mix. So heavy mix means 30% single unit trucks and 70% trailer trucks. So now the condition has changed, right? So it is not the typical mix of the light mix. Total ramp density is given. The freeway segment is on a level terrain. Okay, but it has a 2-mile gradient of 4.5% as well. So we have two conditions, two terrain conditions, level terrain and 4.5% gradient condition. You have to, we are looking to provide level of service C, but if you provide level of service D, that is also acceptable. Okay, so our preference is to have C, but because of some condition, if you end up with level of service D, this is also acceptable. So we have to find out the number of lanes. You have to find out the number of lanes. This is the design analysis. This is the part of the design analysis that you have to find the number of lanes. Again, I will start with the free flow speed freeway. Now I need the lane width and the lateral clearance. They are not given in the question. Lane width and the lateral clearance is not given in the question. I'm designing a freeway. So if my client doesn't tell me that the lane width should be equal to this much, the lateral clearance should be equal to this much, then I will use the standard values. If the client doesn't give me any restriction for the lane width and the road geometry, I will use the standard values of the road geometry. Then using the standard values means that the adjustment factors in this equation will become 0. If you are using a standard lane width 12 feet, the adjust factor for lane width will become 0. If you are using the standard lateral clearance, which is 6 feet on the right hand side, then the factor for lateral clearance will be 0. Okay, so I only need to apply the adjustment factor for total ramp density, which is given as 0.5 over 0.3. Okay, so these factors became 0 because this is a design example. Client did not give me any restriction, so I'm using the standard values. Okay, so give me the free flow speed here.
73.6.
73.6 miles per hour. Okay. Then I need the heavy vehicle adjustment factor as well, right? I have three terrain conditions. Level, upward, downward. Level, upward, downward. Level means it's a segment which has level terrain. Both directions are level terrain. Upward, downward for the gradient section. The section which has 4.5% gradient, obviously it will have one direction going upward and the other direction going downward. Okay, so the FHV will be different for each case. For level it will be different, for upward it will be different, for downward it will be different. Okay, so I'll use the three values for FHV. Let me calculate for level first. One divided by percentage of trucks 15%. Okay, then I need the factor. Okay, now I'm going to use this table. Okay, the heavy mix and the equal mix table, and they have given me heavy mix, so I'm looking at this side. 15% trucks means this value, this column. 4.5% gradient means I'm here. 2 mile means I'm in this range. Okay, so my equivalence factor is 3. Sorry. I'm doing it for the level first, right? I'm doing it for the level terrain first. So for the level terrain, the equivalence factor is 2. Okay, easy. The level terrain, the equivalence factor is 2. Okay, so calculate this value, and I will repeat the same thing for upward and downward as well. What will be the change? The change will be this factor. This factor will change. For upward gradient, again come to this table, 4.5%, more than 1 mile, and the percentage of trucks is 15%, so the factor is 3.11. For upward, the factor is 3.11. For downward, all values are here in the first row. Okay, 15% trucks, the factor is 2.04. 2.04. So for downward, 2.04. For upward, 3.11. Okay. Give me these values.
For level 0.87.
Okay.
0.76.
Okay.
Point
0.86.
86. Okay. So now you have the three values. Okay. Now if I tell you, if I show you the equation for calculating number of lanes, this is the equation. DDHV given in the question. DDHV is given in the question. Peak hour factor given in the question. FHV, you calculate FHV for the three conditions. Okay. Now I need maximum service flow rate. MSF means maximum service flow rate. I need to calculate, or I need to find out the maximum service flow rate for level of service C and D. C is what we want and D is the minimum, right? How to get it? It requires some plotting. So I will tell you the procedure, and then I will go back to the values which are given in the question. Okay, I will tell you the procedure how to get the maximum service flow rate. First of all, you need to draw a graph. You will draw a graph. Okay, the graph will be between the speed and flow. The graph should be between speed and flow. The first value in the graph will be equal to free flow speed. Okay, from free flow speed you will draw a straight line till you reach break point. Okay, so I have showed you the equation for break point, right? Go to that equation for break point of a freeway and calculate the break point. So from free flow speed, draw a line till the break point. Okay, from the break point we need the next point as capacity. So put a point here, calculate the capacity of the freeway. I showed you the equation in the table, and mark the value of the capacity here. Okay, mark the value of the capacity. Now between break point and capacity, select different values of flow. So let's say this is BP is 1200 and capacity is, let's say, 2200. So between 1200 and 2200, select different values of flow. Okay, as per your own convenience and judgment. Okay, select like 8-10 values. Okay. So for each value between BP and CE, calculate the speed using the equation which I have used in the previous example. This equation. For each value between BP till capacity, find out the value of speed. Find out the value of speed. So you have the flow Okay, you will replace the value of VP with the values you have selected between BP and CE. The values which you have selected, you will replace the value of flow with those values. Okay, so for each value you will get the value of speed. Okay, so you have VP and speed, you have flow and speed. Okay, plot these points between BP to capacity. Okay, so from BP to capacity, I will plot these points. So I will have a line like this, a curve like this, not a line, a curve. So how did I plot the curve? I selected different values of flow between BP and C. I replaced them as VP in the speed equation, and I calculate the speed. Okay, so the flow VP was a X value and speed was a Y value, and you plotted the remaining part of the curve. Okay, after plotting the curve, you go to the table of level of service and density. Okay, so in this table you can see for each level of service I have maximum value of density. Take these values and take their inverse. The inverse of these values will be the slope of the line on the graph, the speed flow graph which you have plotted. The inverse of density will be the slope of the line on that graph. Okay, so you take the inverse of 11, 6, 35, 45. Okay, so you will have 5 different values of the slopes, 5 values of the slopes. So I can draw 5 lines, right? For each value of the slope I can draw a line. Okay, so I will come to the graph, start from the origin and start drawing the lines according to the slope. Okay, so each line has a slope which is equal to the inverse of density, the maximum density for each level of service. Okay, so for example, this line has a slope inverse of 11. So 11 is the maximum density of level of service A. So this line belongs to level of service A. Okay, similarly this one will be for B, this one is for C, and this one is for D. The point where the lines are intersecting the curve are your maximum service flow rates. Okay, the point where the line is intersecting the curve are your maximum service flow rate. Okay, now this is just by a chance. Okay, this coincidence that the maximum service flow rate for D is matching BP. This is just by chance. Okay, I'm plotting it randomly. You can see it here. I did not calculate any values here. Okay, anyways, wherever the line intersects the curve, you find out the value of the flow, and that is your maximum service flow rate for this level of service. Okay, so the intersection point of line C with the curve will give the flow rate which is equal to the maximum service flow rate for C, and the same thing for D as well. Okay, now going back to the, like I said, so this is the procedure. If you have any questions you can ask me, but I will do the remaining part of the problem from the equations, from the values already calculated by the authors of the book. So they have already plotted this graph, they already plotted these lines, and they found the maximum service flow rates, which are, you can see it in the graph here, the two values are given. So for C 1747, for D 2108. So they only plotted the two lines which were required. Okay, the two required lines, 1747 for C and 2108 for D. Okay, so EHV already got from the tables, FHV we already calculated. Now number of lanes, I told you we have all the values except maximum service flow rate. So now they are putting the maximum service flow rate for C. Okay, so this is for level, this is for upward, this is for downward. Okay, so you can see in each case FHV is changing, right? All the other values are same. FHV is changing, and maximum service flow rate is put for C because this is the one we want. This is our preferable level of service, right? So we are putting the level of service, the service flow rate for level of service C. Okay, now you can see in each case I am getting the number of lanes slightly more than 2.09, 2.39, 2.1. Okay, these values are very close to 2. These values are very close to 2. So if you provide two lanes, then you may end up having level of service D. How can you know that? Put n equals to 2 here and see how much maximum service flow rate you are getting. Put n2 here and recalculate this value. If this value is under the maximum service flow rate of D, which is 2108 here, 2108, see. So if you put n as 2 here and you are getting maximum service flow rate less than 2108, that means your level of service is D. Okay, D is also acceptable. They said in the question, D is minimum. So if you are getting maximum service flow rate less than 2108, we are maintaining level of service D. This is enough for the present condition. This is enough. Okay, so you can check if I put level 2 lanes here. Okay, what is the maximum service flow rate? Am I getting it less than the maximum service flow rate of D? If it is, then providing 2 lanes is enough. Okay, so if you provide, and this would be enough because you can see the values are very close to 2. Okay, if you put 2 here, how much deterioration you can have, how much increase you will have in the maximum service flow rate? Maybe 50-60 values. Okay, not more than that. Okay, so most probably if you put level of service, if you put 2 lanes here, you will get level of service D. Okay, now so having 4-lane freeway in the present case is acceptable, not preferable but acceptable. Okay, if you provide 3 lanes, so this means it will be a 6-lane freeway, right? It will be a 6-lane freeway. So providing 3 lanes doesn't have any problem, right? It will, you are fulfilling the condition for all cases. Level, upward, downward, all of them are less than 3. Okay, so if I give 3 lanes, this is more than enough for all cases. With 3 lanes, I don't have to perform any check. Okay, so 4 lanes may be acceptable in the present case. 6 lane highly preferable for any case. Okay, and if you are looking for future expansion, then you should not go for 4 lane in any case, right? Even if it is acceptable now, in future it will not be acceptable. Okay, even if providing 4 lanes right now, 4 lane meaning 2 lanes in each direction, even if providing a 4-lane highway or 2 lanes in each direction is enough for now, it will not be enough for future expansion. Okay, so if you have future expansion in your mind, go for 6-lane freeway. Go for a 6-lane freeway. Okay, so if you want to maintain level of service C or better, go for 6-lane freeway, 3 lanes in each direction. If you have future conditions in mind, future expansion, go for a 6-lane freeway. If you don't want any of these conditions, you are happy with level of service D and no future in mind, like most of the engineering students, then you provide 4 lanes. Okay, then providing 4 lanes is enough. Okay, tomorrow inshallah we'll do some more examples. If you have any questions, you may ask me. Any questions? Okay, Nisa Ahmad, Ali Khalil,